What? Didn't you used to have a red one? What happened to the red one? What happened to Vanessa? Oh, I still got it. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Takarius Malik here, and I got a big old little surprise for y'all. I did myself a little fat little favor a couple months ago, about 5 months ago. Oh no, 4 months ago. August, September, October, December. Anyway, I bought it back in August. It's now December. So what I got for y'all today here, people, is a 2017 Ford Mustang EcoBoost performance package with a 6-speed manual transmission. And I'm gonna tell you what, I ain't ever drove nothing like that a day in my life, and I wouldn't trade it in to save my life. So thank you, Ford Motor Company, for producing that vehicle right there. So I'm gonna just kind of walk around this car right quick. You know, all right, the performance package, as you can see, it comes with those. Please excuse my car, it is filthy. It's been raining for like the past 3 days. I don't know whoever it is, but they need to turn that weather machine down. But anyway, this is the performance package. So with the performance package, you get the black wheels, all right? You get a different gear ratio, and you get those bigger brakes down there. Look at that. I mean, those are some big, giant brakes. The same size that come on the Mustang GT, okay? And let me tell you something. They grab. They grab. We're going to walk around the car right quick. I'm going to go up so y'all can't see my tire. Then we're going to go right back down. All right. Excuse me. This weather is really getting to me. But, yes, this is a gorgeous car. It came with that little tinted strip on the windshield. I really like that right there. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a little secret. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about Mustangs in this video, this body style specifically. First things first, you see those fog lights down there? The way that you can tell an EcoBoost from a V6 is if it has fog lights or not. Because I think the last generation, like the 2017 V6s, did not have fog lights, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it was literally not a standard option. So if you wanted fog lights, you actually had to option that out on the V6, because they were really trying to phase that motor out. Like I said, this is the Mustang EcoBoost. Now with this 2017 Ford Mustang EcoBoost, you do get the smart key access system. All right, so you can still use the buttons to lock and unlock, or you can just walk up to it and have the key in your pocket, and you can just grab the door handle. See these ridges right here? When you press those ridges, that unlocks it, but that locks it, but to unlock it, you just grab the door handle. When you grab the door handle and you pull on it, the window comes down out of the frame. In the frame, out the frame, and back in the frame. All right, now here's something else I want to show you. If it's super duper hot outside, all right, and you got a stick shift, the closest thing you're gonna get the remote start is this right here. Press the unlock button, hold it down. Drops those windows down. You can't let them back up though, so if you let them back down, please make sure you're close to the car, because you cannot let them back up with the remote. You have to let them back up by actually getting inside the car, if you know what I mean. So yeah, let's go ahead and get inside this little rocket ship right here. Now I do use this car quite frequently, so I do have some stuff in there like leaves, and I got hats and stuff. Go ahead and lift that window up, you know. All right, so we are in this thing. You see that pretty little horse right there? Okay. All right. This is a very nice interior that they got on this Mustang. You know, they updated it. I mean, the light is just gleaming off the chrome right there. All right. Like I said, 6-speed manual. That's the only way you're supposed to have a Mustang. If you have it any other way, you are wrong. I don't care if they got a 10-speed automatic for 2018. You are supposed to have a stick shift. Now, with that being said, you get this magic little thing called a clutch. The way you start this car is, you put your foot on the clutch. Bloop. Your start button is right here. Don't look for it right there, and you no longer have a key to turn anymore. Your start button's right there. Put your foot on the clutch. Push the clutch. I meant push the button to start. What's wrong with me? But yeah, and I love that door chime. That doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. All right. So, we're going to start from this side, all right? So, you know, we got them fancy mirror adjustment buttons right there. So, I'm trying to focus in on that, if you know what I mean. All right, you press that button. That's for your driver's side mirror, and it lights up orange. Press it again, it goes off. Press that button, that's for your passenger side mirror. Oh, my gosh. Focus, 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 focus! Forward focus! All right. So you can adjust your mirrors. Now, one thing I do love on this generation Mustang is it comes with not only just a mirror, but you see that little mirror in the top left-hand corner? That's your blind spot mirror. I really love that. I really do love that, because that's, and I still turn around and check over my shoulder, but it's also right there, because it will get confusing at nighttime when you've got about 400 different headlights in your mirror, but it's just good that they put it there. Another thing, the defrost on the Mustangs is no longer up here like, well, it was up here on my 2002 Mustang, so it just kind of angled towards the window, but they've actually got it on the window now. And the way they do that, there's a little duct right there. See it? Little duct right there. All right. Boom. All right, with the performance package, you get those marvelous gauges right there. You get the oil pressure gauge in pounds per square inch, or otherwise known as PSI. You get your vacuum gauge for your turbocharger, because this is the 2.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder Mustang that has a crankshaft rating of 310 horsepower and 320 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, if they would have gave that thing just another 100 horsepower, that would have been 100 horsepower per cylinder out of a 4-cylinder. There are ways to do that, but I will talk about that in a different video. So we got our gauges, little instrument cluster right here. So your buttons on the steering wheel, I'm gonna kind of run through those right quick. These right here are for that screen right there. You see that screen right there? This is your cruise control. This is your command system for the sync. And this is a part of the radio. So volume up, volume down, next track, previous track. All right, so we're gonna start with this right here. So if you wanna go into your gauges right there, or not your gauges, your little screen right there, you just kind of press the arrow to the left or up or down. We're gonna go up. All right, now that shows over the last 30 minutes how I've been driving. Now I'm gonna tell you something. That is the absolute worst gas mileage you can get out of an EcoBoost Mustang, is about 18, 17, 18, 19 miles to the gallon. That's the worst you're gonna get. So if you're considering buying yourself a Mustang or a Mustang GT or a Mustang EcoBoost, understand that you would really have to try in a GT to get it anywhere above 18. You can get it to about 23, but that's on its absolute best day. So when you're thinking about buying a Mustang or a Mustang EcoBoost, these 4-cylinder Mustangs with that turbocharger, you have the power of a V8, but the gas mileage of a 4-cylinder. So long as the turbocharger is in a vacuum. So in order to get this thing to a traveling speed and get good gas mileage, about 80 miles an hour is the fastest that you could go to get anywhere above 26 miles to the gallon. Remember that. I'm serious. Remember that. If you're doing anything above 80, you're going to max out at about 26, 25 miles to the gallon. But we'll go up one more time. All right. Now that shows my current fuel economy. And then that shows my fuel economy over the course of trip 2. So you got trip 1, trip 2, and that's trip 1 right there. So, and please understand that that gas mileage is not realistic. I've been sitting still for about 30 minutes, so it's been drastically dropping. And I reset my computer every single time. Like you see how it says hold OK to reset. Every time I get gas, I reset my computer because I want to see exactly how far I go on each tank of gas. But when I'm on like a trip or something, I don't actually reset it until I've gone there and came back. So, you know, you don't have to do that, but it makes it a lot easier for the computer to climb MPGs when you reset it every time, because it'll give you a larger number if you've proven yourself worthy of getting above 22 miles to the gallon, 25, 28, 30 miles to the gallon. And I'm telling you, it is absolutely true that you can get this car to 30 miles to the gallon. That's at 70 miles an hour, you'll get 30 miles to the gallon out of a Mustang. That's unheard of, by the way. I'm gonna go to the left now with the arrow. I can go up into my gauge mode. Your gauge mode, that right there is your best friend, especially if you ever decide you want to modify this car or anything. But like I said, I'll talk about modifications in a different video, because I want y'all to stay tuned, because I should have done a video in this car before I ever touched it. But I've touched this car, and so I want y'all to stay tuned to my channel, because I'm going to be uploading videos on this car quite frequently. But you see your air to fuel ratio? That's where it should always be when you're sitting still, around 14. You put your foot on the gas, it will change. When you are coasting, like if you're just coasting and going down a hill and you're in 6th gear or whatever, It'll go up to about 20, 19, 18, 19, 20. That's normal. But when you're sitting still idling, it ought to be at about 14. Go down, that's your cylinder head temperature. Do not panic if you see that it's climbing like that, because it'll get up to about 214 degrees before it actually turns the radiator fans on and before the thermostat opens up. That is normal. Ford designed this car to do that. We're not used to seeing stuff like that. We're usually, the hottest we're used to seeing is about 160 to 180. No, this car is designed to run a little bit hotter than that. So if you ever see it run that high, move on down to that temperature gauge and tell me if it's in the middle or not. Actually, it's more to the left than it is to the right. More to the left than it is to the middle. Ford designed this car to do that. You see how it's still climbing? Well, it's 39 degrees outside, and you tell me how my cylinder head temperature is almost 200 degrees. That's the way Ford designed the car, and I will go into that a little bit later on how it gets that high. The word for that is called active grille shutters. Remember that word. So I'm going to go down. That's my inlet air temperature. So that's the air that's being pulled through the intake under the hood for the engine. My oil temperature is normal. Let me tell you something about the oil temperature. When you first start this car on a cold start, this car will feel like it has lost some power until the oil temperature gets to a normal temperature. And you need to correlate that temperature of the oil to the pressure of the oil, because right now that's where it's supposed to be at. And you do not need to get aggressive with the throttle on this car until that oil pressure has went down to about 40 PSI, because when you cold start it, it goes up to about 85. You put your foot on the gas at all, it'll go up to about 100. It really will go up that high. So you need to really treat this car a little bit differently than you've treated any other car. So that's not saying you have to baby it, but the first 10 minutes you drive it, you really ought to treat it like any other car that you've ever driven. You're not ever supposed to floor a car or get aggressive with the throttle in the car when the engine's cold. That doesn't matter if it's forced induction, turbocharged, supercharged, naturally aspirated. Treat the car with respect. It'll treat you with respect. Respect the car, it'll respect you. All right. Anyway, let's go down a little further. Battery voltage, that's normal. It should be somewhere between 12 to 14. Mine usually sits at about 13 when I'm driving, 13.5, something like that. But at idle, it'll sit at around 13 flat, 12.7, 12 and a half. That's normal. But if it ever drops below 12, you need to call on Jesus, or you need to call the Ford dealership and tell them your alternator might be going bad, or you may have a bad ground somewhere. But, all right, I just clicked the left arrow, which is this one right here. You see the left arrow? All right, and I'm going to go down to track apps. You do have track apps on this car. Now, you get more options on this car if you opt for the premium package. This is not the premium. This is the EcoBoost Performance Package. It's a lot to say, like Mustang EcoBoost Premium Performance Package. It's a lot to say, but, you know, every car has different options on it. So I got my accelerometer, which is my acceleration and deceleration G's, my acceleration timer, my 0 to 30, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, eighth mile and quarter mile. Brake performance, which is 60 to 0 and 100 to 0. I would highly advise y'all not to do something like that on a day where it's doing this outside. Just throw that out there. But I haven't really fooled around with that much, because I don't really want to beat on this car, you know. Lap timer, track 1, track 2, track 3. You would really actually need a track to do stuff like that. And you can see your results and stuff. So you can see your lap timer, your all-time best. You can clear the data. You can clear your all-time best, all that stuff. And driver assist mode, which is, you get options like auto engine off. You get hill start assist. Now that hill start assist, I don't know if that comes on the automatic or not, because automatics are always engaged. But auto engine off, that does come on the automatic. That comes on both manual and automatic. Basically what that is if I sit here for about 30 minutes and I don't touch the gas or the brake or the clutch, it will pop up a warning that will give me a 30-second warning telling me engine will automatically power itself off. You can press a button to override it. I think it's the OK button on the steering wheel. Press OK to override. That is not stop and start. That is not where every time you come to a stop at a stoplight and you're sitting there for a certain amount of time, say 30 seconds, the engine cuts off. No, that's not what that is. What that is if you walk inside the house and forget to turn the car off because this car is very quiet and you forget it's running, well, then it will turn itself off so you don't run all your gas out. Nor is it good to let a car sit there and idle that long, because it's not getting all the lubrication that it should be getting. So it will turn itself off if you don't give it any form of activity to let you know, hey, I'm still in the car, hey, I'm still driving, all that good stuff. Hill Start Assist is basically to keep you from rolling backwards in between the transition of going from neutral to first gear. That's exactly what that is. So say you're on a really steep hill, all right, you've got your foot on the brake and the clutch, you put it in first gear. The way you activate Hill Start Assist is you put it in first gear and you put your foot on the brake. If the car senses that you are on any sort of an incline, it will hold the brake even when you take your foot off the brake. It also does that in reverse. So if you're trying to back out of a hill, then you do it the exact same way that you would for first gear. But to get the reverse, by the way, on this car, you pull up on the ring, over to the left, and up to first, basically, is what that is. That's kind of like a reverse gear lockout, is what that is. So, and when you saw I put it in reverse, it also pops up a backup camera. So that's another neat thing this car has. Even on the non-premium package, you do get a backup camera. Ain't God good? Thank you, Ford, once again. I'm so glad that y'all are putting those types of options on people like me who are broken, have absolutely no money, and don't really have any business owning a car with a turbocharger anyway. But I got it, so I'm gonna show it off and help you sell more of them. But that's about it for and then settings. So I'm gonna zoom in right here. All right, you have vehicle settings like lighting, auto lamp delay. I really don't know what that is. This car's got so many options on it, but you really don't want to mess with any of that stuff. Oil life percent. Oh, I got 91% oil life left. I'm sorry. Oh, it tells you. I ain't never seen that before. Oh my gosh. Now I have seen it pop up where it tells me it gives you a warning. It gave me a warning 1,800 miles early because I kind of been dogging the car a little bit. So if you are running this car a little bit hard, you are shortening the oil life on the car. Just to throw that out there. So it tells you how much oil life you have left. Tire mobility kit. Oh, that's another thing. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Windows remote open. You can go in and turn that off, but I don't know why you would, because the only way the windows are going to open by the remote is if you press the button. But that option is nice to have there when you want it. So that's about it for that little menu right there. Then of course you have your speedometer and ground speed. A little bit of aero technology in here, you know. Everybody's kind of designing things after airplanes because airplanes do move fast. So, yeah. And you have your fuel gauge down there. And I'm going to go back to my trip and fuel. So, yeah, that's about it right there. As far as cruise control, I'm going to zoom out. Zoom on out. We're going to focus in. All right. Cruise control, you activate that by pushing the on button. You will get an indication that pops up right there. See where it says set? All right. Now, I'm going to say this. The absolute highest that you can have cruise control operating is 120 miles an hour in this car. Don't tell your moms and dads I said that. But I said it. All right. Once you get to the speed that you want to cruise control at, you will just press set up or down. And you can also resume. So anytime you press the brake, it will pause the cruise control. But if you press resume, so long as you're going faster than 20 miles an hour and you're in a decent gear, it will allow you to resume that speed. And you don't have to actually be at that speed. So if you're doing 45 and you got it set at 60, well, you can press resume and it will accelerate you gradually to 60 miles an hour. And you can also turn it off, so that indication will go away. You have your, basically where you can tell the car, you have a certain list of commands you can tell the car. So tell it, or, so if you push this button right here, this is the please say a command.
Please say a command.
All right, and it's probably going to trick out on me because it's not going to understand anything I'm saying, because nothing I'm saying is on the list, so just wait for it.
Try saying a device name like phone or USB. Main menu. Say a command.
All right, we're going to cancel that. But as you can see, you have an option of things you can say, and that option will kind of, those options change. Oh, God, it's connecting to my phone. But anyway, those options will change when you have it connected to a phone. I got my Bluetooth off, And I'm sure it's talking to my phone right now, trying to force it to come back on. But okay, good. It's not going to do that. All right, but those options change when you connect it to a phone. So you can like play. You can say next track or play or pause or call somebody, stuff like that. You can tell it to call somebody or, you know, get stuff like that. Now, it doesn't have the option where to read a text message to you. I think that's sync 3. This is just the regular sync. You can see where it says sync. I got fingerprints everywhere in this car. And then, of course, you have your pick up the phone and hang up the phone. And you have a whole charade of buttons right here. Just let me tell you all about these buttons right here. All right. This left side is for your radio, as you can see. So we got a little radio controls right here. Yes, we do have a CD player, and it is hidden right there. Right in that little strip right there. And our climate control options right there. But this is how you adjust your sound right here, your sound quality, and you will adjust those by the use of these arrows right here. So you can go up, select different ones, and you can change a certain selection. I kind of keep mine set pretty high because this, you know, it's got a decent audio system, but I like my stuff to sound like I am just surrounded by a concert. Not everybody's the same, but I do. And you do, oh my gosh, it went away. Press that again. All right, you do have the option to balance it off between the front and rear speakers. So if you want the front speakers to play louder than the rear ones, or the rear speakers to play louder than the front ones, it just depends on how you want it. And then you have your bass adjustment down here at the bottom. And then your fade, or not, your fade is the front and rear, but your balance, oh my gosh, is, all right, that's if you want the left side of the car to play louder or the right side of the car to play louder. And your occupancy mode, where it only optimizes everybody so everybody can hear it, or only the driver can hear it. I would definitely leave that on optimize all if I were you. All right, so we got our radio option right there. Our mute, you can mute it there, or you can mute it right here, which that's really how you turn the entire system off. So if I press it, it goes, everything just goes away. You can't turn the volume up or down or nothing. So that's the T on that right there. All right, your clock, your phone, menu, pick up the phone. All right, this is your screen selections right here. So if I go to my menu, which is what I was just on, all right, and I go down to, where's that? Sync. You got all types of sync apps and stuff, but like I said, when you connect the phone, it'll actually give you an option. But these buttons right here, it'll have certain words right here that each of those words corresponds to one of these buttons. So yeah, that's the T on that right there. And you have a nice little old dial pad right there, so you don't really have to pick up the phone, because they're designing these cars to stray people away from distracted driving, if you know what I mean. So the time you take to sit there and pick up a phone, you see how it says right here, you see those buttons right there, you can click add, retry, cancel, all that good stuff. So but anyway, like I was saying, the time you take it to pick up that phone, we you know, it doesn't seem like that much. You could travel that far, but if you're doing about 80 miles an hour, you've probably traveled a football field in less than a second at 80 miles an hour. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. So they kind of put everything driver focused, where you don't have to pick up a phone. You can speak to the car, you can touch the car, and it, of course, it locks you out of doing certain things if the vehicle is moving. So that's T on that. All right, so we got our climate control buttons. All right, this has got to be one of the most powerful air conditioners in a Mustang I've ever had. This right here is about as hard as it blows in my other Mustang, my red Mustang, on high. All right, so it blows a lot harder than that when you have it on max AC. So if you turn it on max, the way you hit max is you go all the way down to either side and you click it. All right, that's max. My God, I can't breathe. But yeah, that's max AC for you right there. You only get max AC as an option when you, like I said, you'll push it like that, but you only get it through the vents. You don't get max AC through the vent and the floor, but you do get a max defrost. So, but it has to be all the way on hot, and you only get it coming out of these top vents right here, and the sides right there, and there's one on that side too. So that's the, oh my gosh, focus. Yeah, so that's the max defrost right there. All right, I'm gonna turn it off as I'm getting hot. So let's look around. You know? I don't know if y'all caught that, but when I put it on max, I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna turn everything off. When I put it on max defrost, the rear defrost turns on too. So that was, I did not catch that. So I looked down, I was like, I don't remember turning that on. So yeah, remember that. You turn it on max defrost, it turns on the rear defrost too, which are those little heat lines on the window. Just, if y'all didn't know that, those lines on those windows are for the defrost. There's not an actual vent back there. So basically it kind of heats the window up a little bit. And that's how it defrosts. So y'all just learned something new if you didn't know. Yeah, boy. Safety first, put your seatbelts on. Everybody in the house, put your daggum seatbelts on. All right, let's see how this EcoBoost drives. All right. Disclaimer. Like I said before, I've done some things to this car. So you're gonna hear noises from this car that you're not gonna hear from a brand new EcoBoost that you buy off the lot. One of them. You're not gonna hear that off the lot. I will explain that in a different video, if you know what I mean. All right, so driving this car, it's practically stall proof because I'm gonna move my right leg completely back on this takeoff, and I'm going to put it in first and let the clutch out. You can hear it rev itself up. Like, when you put your foot on the clutch and you have it in gear, when you get the clutch, like once you get it in gear, your foot's on the clutch, the RPMs automatically go to 1,000 RPM. So we're rolling. My foot's not on the gas. Now it is. I mean, if you stall this car, you don't need to drive a Mustang, period. Because it is as close to an automatic transmission as it's going to get, people. I'm serious. Like, literally. There's... Ignore those noises. You're going to hear it, but you're not going to hear it blow off like that. Because I've done some things to this car, like I said, and we're just going to floor it. Right now, 5th gear, and we're at 80 miles an hour already. It's raining, the road's wet. I did not lose a single amount of traction. It's very possible to do that. Don't think that just because it's I'm gonna tell you what, don't think that just because this is a 4-cylinder that it won't break them tires loose. Did you see that? It will most definitely break these tires loose. And I'm pulling 6th gear right now, foot half throttle. We're now doing. Oops. All right. Let's go ahead and pop that hood, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and pop that hood and show you what this thing's got hiding up under the hood, y'all. All right, so up under the hood of the EcoBoost Mustang is a 2.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Ignore that. Ignore all that stuff. I told y'all I've done some stuff to this car. I'll explain everything later. What you're going to get from the factory is an air box, okay? You're going to get a factory air box that you will not be able to see the filter, and it's going to be basically from about that size right there, you know, and it's going to be completely covered. So you're going to get an air box. All right, so front, we got our engine coolant expansion tank right here. We've got our coolant fans right there. You do have 2 of them in this car. So one of them serves as the radiator fan. One of them serves as the condenser fan for the AC. But if need be, they will both work together and they will accomplish whatever needs to be accomplished on this car. They both come on regardless. So if the thermostat is calling, they both come on. If the air conditioner is calling, they both come on. They come on regardless. But it's good to have 2 fans there, being as though you're pulling through more than one coil. So, you know, that's I will say that was one of the flawed designs on older Mustangs, is only having 1 fan, because my other Mustang only has 1 fan, and it doesn't necessarily seem like it can ever do the job. But fuse box right here. All right, Keep your fingers out of there unless one blows. You know, these aren't really your ordinary fuses. They're kind of tied in. You got all these cables and stuff. I mean, this car has electronics in it for days, okay? So if you don't know what you're doing, I'd stay my fingers out of it. Now look down there. So this thing's got a Bosch in it. I see right there, it says Bosch. You see it right there. Little computer right there. Windshield wiper fluid sits right there. This is your air conditioner compressor discharge line. So it's discharging down into the condenser down here, and your suction line sits right there for the air conditioner. So that's that big line right there. So suction, discharge, all right? So that one's going into your evaporator coil inside the car. Your battery hides under here, so you will need to pop these pop rivets out, and you will see your battery right there. So just kind of put that back in place. Of course, it ain't gonna want to cooperate because I got one hand doing it, but if you ever have to jump this car off, just know you will have to do some uncovering of things, undressing. Your turbocharger sits right there. All right, your charge hose, this is a twin scroll turbocharger, by the way. Please understand this. Twin scroll does not mean twin turbocharged. Twin scroll does not mean twin turbocharged. Basically, when it says twin scroll turbocharger, that means you have twin scrolls in there, and it can spool up a lot faster and maintain boost a lot better. It's a single turbo, but it's got a twin scroll design. So yeah. Notice when I was talking about that engine coolant, that engine temperature being high, this vehicle has active grille shutters. As of right now, I just so happened to have turned the car off when they were shut, and it looks like they were getting ready. Dude, that upset. I'm so obsessed with that. There. So that's where you would put oil in, your Safe IW30. You got your dipstick, if you know what I'm saying. You need to check that every now and then, make sure that oil ain't burnt black, you know what I'm saying. This car does have an oil life sensor in it, but you don't need to depend on the car's computers to tell you when to change your oil. You need to change your oil every 35,000 miles. It doesn't matter if it says you have 85% oil life left. If you've driven 6,000 miles, change your oil. All right, maintenance is everything. All right, let's pop his trunk, and we'll see how much space we got back here. There's two ways to pop the trunk. You can pop it by the button under the steering wheel, which is right there. Or you can sit up here and pop it by pressing the button that's on your key fob, which is this button right here. So you also have your backup camera, so it's kind of hidden under the spoiler. And your reverse light sits right there. I really, really wish that was an LED light, but your tag lights are LED lights. You got two LED tag lights. So now, yes, I do have a traffic cone in my trunk because when I park this car, I don't like people to park all next to me and open the door and dent my dang car up. So now when it had that, I forgot what it said on the screen, but it was something about like a tire kit or something like that. We don't come with spare tires anymore for whatever reason. You get a tire repair kit. So yeah, basically that.